Welcome to the PR Bunker podcast, hosted by Don Martelli. This is the show about the one thing that decides outcomes in business, reputation, and the relationships that build it. Today, Don is joined by Stephanie Roulic. She turned an unexpected start into Startup Boston, one of the most connected communities in the city. They get into how she did it, the relationships that mattered, the reputation she built along the way, and yes, a little North Shore versus South Shore rivalry. Let's get into it.
What's up, folks? Welcome back down to the PR Bunker podcast. Stoked for today's conversation. Stephanie and I met through a mutual connection, and we're talking startups, kid. We're talking startups in Boston. We're going to talk a little trash about North Shore, South Shore. But Stephanie, thank you for joining me down here in the PR Bunker. It's a pleasure to have you. I can't wait to tell your story.
I was so excited to be here, and there's really no competition. I mean, South Shore is better, but as you were.
I mean, you can have your bar pie, but we'll take roast beef all day long. And so before we get to that point, I'm a firm believer that everybody's journey is not exactly how they planned. Before we get to Startup Boston, kid, how did you get to Startup Boston? Tell us your story.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I did not set out to be in the startup world by any means. It's kind of something I fell into and then also fell in love with. Essentially, after college, I could not land a job. No one wanted to hire me. And I found a job off of Craigslist for a marketing agency. And that was my first role, as a quote, professional adult. And really from that agency, the founder of the agency had an idea for a software company. And that was initially my first entry point into the startup world was him and I decided to spin a software company out of that event agency, and we became co-founders together. So this was back in August of 2016 when that occurred. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I was not setting out to be a founder. When I graduated initially a couple years prior to that, and I was like Googling and looking at books and everything, back when you would buy books and read them to be like, all right, how do I do this? How do I go and build a company? And essentially that essentially that prompted me to really create Startup Boston. And Startup Boston started off as first Startup Boston Week, which was a week-long conference in September. And it was really created selfishly on my side of things because I just wanted a week-long event that answered all of the questions I had as a founder. Now, what no one told me is that when you create a conference, you don't actually watch any of the conference. You're constantly in the back end running the conference. But with that stated, the first conference went incredibly well. We had over 2,000 folks that attended with our $0 marketing budget. And that really, started what Startup Boston is today.
Wow.
That was the jumping off point. Yeah.
What was the moment when you said, shit, I'm going to do this? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it wasn't one specific moment. There was a specific moment when I decided to go all in on Startup Boston and have it be my full-time job. In the beginning with Startup Boston, due to the success of Startup Boston Week, I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing this again for another year because everyone wanted it. So it just naturally made sense to continue with Startup Boston Week. And we're now hitting year 10 in September. But about 2 years ago, I had just finished working at my second startup as a early stage operator. I was one of the first employees hired at that company, built out their whole post-sales division. We essentially got to the point where I was joining as employee 11 and I left at employee 160. So I really saw a lot of different things. And it was really in that moment, I was like, you know what, if I don't go all in on Startup Boston, then it might just die. I should go and focus on this. I don't want this to die. I want this to be a staple for the startup community here in Boston. I want this to really be that umbrella organization that everyone in Boston can really see as being their own resource for really promoting the startup community here and connecting it. And it was really in that moment 2 years ago where I was financially stable. I wasn't ready to go look for another job. And I was like, I have Startup Boston right here. I should just go all in. So not exactly a moment, but a bunch of small moments that led to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think 10 years, congratulations, first and foremost. And it sounds like you were the original 11, which is also kind of cool.
Yes.
Stranger thing, shout out. But why do you think after 10 years, it's grown so much? And what's the interest of the audience? And I'm sure 2016, much different than 2026 these days. I mean, what was the thing that drove people to 2,000 of them in year one, which is incredible, by the way, high five, to 2026? What continues to drive people to an experience like this?
Definitely. The first year, I think it was the combination of two specific things. The first was we had incredible speakers that spoke at the first Startup Boston Week. We had the founder of DraftKings and the founder of HubSpot and the founder of Localytics and the founder of EasyCater. Like we had A+ rockstar team that headlined that event. So that 1,000% generated a lot of interest for that first year. And I think what kept folks coming back year over year and wanting the event year over year was the fact that all of the content that was created was really created from the mindset of an early stage tech founder that was like, I don't know what I'm doing and I need someone to give me the roadmap. And that's really been kind of the method that we've created all of our sessions to date for Startup Boston Week. As we, fast forward 10 years to the year of 2026 here, we have a volunteer squad of about 18 folks. They work in the startup community. They are founders, operators, investors, accelerator, university leaders, and they're all approaching Startup Boston Week and also the programming Startup Boston does year round with the mindset of, what does the startup community need? Let me go and create content that solves the pain points I myself am experiencing and my colleagues are experiencing. And I do think the greater kind of take home lesson, not just from Startup Boston, but from any type of community that wants to go and create an awesome group of folks that come together yearly to learn from one another, is to always put that audience first. Sometimes folks get a little kind of off the straight and narrow and start thinking about creating that content specifically for sponsors or donors. And while they are an incredibly important part of your organization, they are sponsoring and donating because of the value that you're offering to your community members. So I think as long as you're constantly thinking about what does the community need, what are the pain points they need solved, whether that's connections or educational material, I do think that it will grow as a result.
Let me ask you this. So after 10 years, clearly you've refined how this all gets done, right? Location, programming, sponsors, revenue, blah, blah, blah. But what are the core principles of Startup Boston that still exist today that existed when you thought of doing something like this?
Definitely. There's 3 of them, and they've been steadfast for the past 10 years. It is to connect the startup community, to celebrate the startup community, and to educate the startup community. And those 3 pillars have been constant, truly,
Oh,
for all
love
10
that.
years. We're constantly thinking of different types of content, whether that's virtual, in person, or, content that's online, like readable,
Yeah.
blog posts,
Yeah.
social, that speak to one of those 3 pillars.
How do you envision the experience to unfold now that you're in year 10?
I'm just surviving, Don. Like, come on, give me a break. So much pressure. That's such a
Surviving, girl.
big
You've been here for
question.
10 years. Don't give me that shit. You've been doing it for quite some time. No surviving. It's about how do you then take it to the next 10 years. But, what can people expect this year?
Yeah, I think there's a few things that I am cooking up for year 10 that I'm not going to announce yet because we're still a couple months out. But there's a few
Boo.
things that have to be figured out before that can
Boo.
start. I know. But
You
really,
realize I'm a former journalist and I'll ask you the same question 20 different times that sounds differently. And eventually you're going to give it to me.
what? Ask me in like 6 weeks once I have some stuff figured out.
Got it. Got it.
Mid-July, you drop me a
Got
note,
it.
all right?
Okay, well, how about we rephrase the question then? The rephrasing would be, after now you've been at this for 10 years, what do you hope the experience will bring to people outside of the 3 principles that has been learned from the 10 years of experience?
Really want folks to attend Startup Boston Week and discover a new type of resource that they can find in the startup community here. That's definitely one of the things that we're doubling down on for year 10. We've been doing little glimmers of it throughout the past year where we have our Meet the Accelerators fair, our Meet the Networking Groups fair, different resource fairs. But one of the beautiful things about Startup Boston is we're truly aggregating everything that's happening in the startup community. Our mission is not to compete with any networking group or accelerator program. It's to amplify them. It's to gather up all of the incredible resources that already exist in this ecosystem and really make it easy for founders and operators to locate them. So we're really taking that train of thought because we have tested out a few event formats over the past year and looking to double down on it during Startup Boston Week this year. I think one of the big things that's missing from year 8 and 9, and even the ones prior, is that we weren't offering enough of those one-on-one connections or networking opportunities. We're really focused on the educational content piece, and the networking part was an afterthought. So that is something that we are not switching because the educational content is still really important, but definitely amping up more of that intentional networking. So not related to year 10 per se, but something I want to double down on.
What drives you to continue to do this? You spend more time on your feet running around, not eating, drinking, anything to do it all. But what fuels you to continue to do this?
I really just love it. It's not the event part that I
Well,
love, it's the community
what about
part.
it do you love?
Yeah, I think it's okay. An example for you to kind of explain this. So
Perfect.
recently we hosted an event that's called Test Early Stage Startups in Real Life. We had about 20 startups that came to table to demo their MVP, to get feedback from folks about how their MVP is coming along, to build out their beta list. And events like that, they make me excited because essentially, as I'm sitting at the door, thanking attendees for coming, attendees are coming up to me sharing about the startups that they discovered, that they're excited about, that they think is so fascinating because it's new innovations within our own backyard here in Boston. And the founders are having a great experience because they're getting real time feedback from folks and building out their beta list, something that's really hard to do, especially as a first time early stage founder. And I think it's really creating those interactions where it is creating the startup community to discover new things that are happening in their own backyard, whether that is new startups, new accelerators, new networking groups, whatever it is, and just helping folks recognize how incredible Boston is in general.
Mm,
I
hmm.
do. I absolutely love Boston. I do think that Boston has a little bit of that underdog mentality where folks in the startup scene, especially online, are sometimes like, oh, we need to go fix this or this isn't that great. And what I like to really remind folks of all the events we do is we're amazing. We're number 4 in the globe in terms of the startup scene. We are doing incredible things. We are a powerhouse. We have been for many years, at least a decade, because that's when I started to pay attention to it. And I think any type of event or piece of content that Startup Boston can put out to really help promote that mindset that Boston is the top place to build, it gets me excited. It gets me up
I
in the
bet.
morning. I like helping people build.
You must feel like a proud parent, right? Because 10 years ago, some of those startups that came through your event are either sold, bought, turned into something else that have come through. So, like, what are some of those examples of those early companies that have come through that are now like, oh my God, they came through Startup Boston?
There's a few, but I don't necessarily want to take credit for their hard work.
No,
But what I
well, I mean,
will
like the fact that they were in that room at that moment meant that it was important to them. So, meaning your network
Yes.
includes these kinds of people.
Yes. I will say that there's a couple companies that I met back in year 1 or 2 of Startup Boston Week that have IPO'd in the past year.
Awesome.
And they participated at those very early stage Startup Boston Weeks. So I will say that part is exciting. I got an
Got it.
email like a month ago, even. So it was like 10 years out, a month ago, of someone who attended one of our co founder matching events. And he met his co
Nice.
founder there. And they now have an MVP and they have users and they're fundraising. So I don't think it's necessarily one specific, but it is. I am a proud parent for some of these companies. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is so
This is
cool."
literally your baby. This is your
Exactly.
baby. Yeah. Excellent.
Exactly. And I will say, those stories are just, I don't know, they're endless. And I love watching founders and startups build. And then also, of course, there's the sliver of companies, that took off and then died. That
Yeah.
is common, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
what I have not enjoyed, but have, I guess, appreciated in that process is that I can see the community that they built at Startup Boston, to helping pick them up, helping them land their new job, or helping them with their new venture. So I'm very, very proud of the founders in the community that have been created.
That's cool. Now, since you have a decade of learning, if you were to talk to the young lady who was considering this 10 years ago, what would you tell her?
To ask for help. I was a very stubborn person. I was like, I can do this by myself. But also, I was very bad at identifying what I needed help on. Now in year 10, I know what my weaknesses are. I know what I would like to offload. I understand a little bit more of the interworkings of a business. When I first started Startup Boston, I was starting a tech company. I was starting Startup Boston at the same time. I did not understand what an actual good business looked like because I never had any moment in my life where I saw one. It was right after college. I had no idea what it looked like to actually run a company. So asking for help is a big one. And I would highly recommend it to anyone starting a company is to
Got it.
ask for help. Sit down with
Love that.
yourself, create a little notebook list thing of this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm bad at, and go make friends with the people that can help you with what you're bad at.
That's smart. Very, very smart. Quick pivot. Clearly, you're the gal in the room that's sort of the Pied Piper bringing people together. And everybody that I bring on to the Bunker podcast, I kind of run through sort of my hello to yes framework, which is how I think of networking. Every relationship gets to a yes in some way, shape, or form, right? People show up to your event because they see value, so that's the yes for you. What's the questions around networking? So clearly, somebody who's is the Pied Piper of thousands of people. Clearly, you've built a network through your work over the years to make this so successful as it is. At the core of your networking and your systems and habits, what does that look like from your perspective? What are the things that you do to make your network so rich?
Just constantly creating events and interaction. I do not have a good system for it. I'm not going to lie, Don. I do not. Somehow it
You
exists.
got to
And
work on that, girl.
I need someone to tell me how I'm supposed to do it.
There you go.
I will say in a weird way, and I think a lot of maybe community organizers and leaders can relate to this. If you're constantly creating events and ways to connect with folks and constantly putting out content that's all about the community, I think folks will naturally find you and connect with you, and it keeps you top of mind for people. But I definitely don't have like a magic playbook. I don't know. I have no idea, but I am just creating things that I know I want and then meeting people that way.
That's pretty cool. Now, how about clearly you've made it to this particular point. Nobody has a crystal ball, but ultimately, where would you love to take this brand, this company? Where would you like to take it?
I mean, I'm dreaming very, very big.
Good, great, great. What does that dream
I
look like?
definitely am seeing Startup Boston in the future, let's say 5 to 10 years from now, is kind of an octopus, if that will, where we have a lot of different tentacles. We're plugging into different things in the community, all again within that vein of connecting, celebrating, and educating folks here. But I do see us going far beyond our events and Startup Boston Week. I see us really being a well-known household brand name, not just for startups, but also for universities, corporate partners, really being that gateway, that doorway for anyone who wants to enter the startup scene. So, I mean, dreaming big, I mean, I would love to have a space and a media arm and potentially a VC arm. Like we're going for it all.
Mm, love that. Love that.
Yes.
What's your favorite part of the gig?
Using my imagination and not having anyone tell me that I can't do it. I can just go and create it if I want to. I love that. I do tell myself no a lot. No is probably my favorite word. I tell a lot of people no. The joke going on at home is that I say no so much. I am on my third keyboard where both the N and the O have completely,
Wow.
completely rubbed off. All the other letters are there, but not those two. So that is
The
how much I
YES
no.
really super crisp, right?
Yes, but I definitely, besides saying no to myself, I check myself a lot because I do have very large aspirations and I recognize I can't do it all right now in this
Hmm.
moment. But I very much love that I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, how can we do that? And maybe it's like a note to myself that I can go and, do what I'm imagining like 6 months from now. And maybe it's oh, I can just roll this out tomorrow. Like, this is not a big deal. But I absolutely love using my imagination. I always have. So I think that's the best part is being able to actually bring my imagination to life.
Love it. Well, I mean, if you love what you do, it's not work. And by the wideness and broadness and depthness of your smile right now is indicative of how you love what you do. Now, what's the next 6 months look like? Clearly, you're coming into a crescendo here. Right? So walk
Yes.
us through the next 6 months.
So the next 100 days,
There you
I
go.
mean, I'm going to love them, but they're going to be awful. It's going to be a
Yeah.
love-hate relationship for the next 100 days. They are the busiest ones of the year. The joke is that I never have a summer, and I haven't for almost 10 years now because Startup Boston Week is directly after summer, which means summer does not really exist in my world. But I am going to try to get to the beach like at least one or two more times.
Good.
So it'll be
Good.
okay.
Good.
And then directly after Startup Week, which is September 14th to 18th, it really will be kind of about 2 to 3 weeks of wrap up. Wrapping up that conference is also a lot of work, not as
I
much as
bet.
planning it, but it is many weeks of nonstop work to wrap up everything with the volunteers, the speakers, the sponsors, the venues. There are so many folks, like hundreds upon hundreds of folks that either donate their time or sponsor the event or donate resources to bring that to life. So a lot of
Mm.
wrap up goes into it.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm already planning the event calendar for October and
I
November. So
bet.
I think those are my,
Wow.
last 2 months of that 6.
Wow. 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 Wow.
So it's going to be busy. We'll go back to like probably 8 events again every month as we have
Yeah.
been. So
Good for
it'll be
you
good.
on that
It does
grind.
not stop.
Yeah. So for those that are interested in experiencing Startup Boston, what advice would you give them?
To go. Definitely. It is free. There are no, ways like we're not stopping you from going. You can just show up and be your awesome self and meet folks. The way that we set up the conference is each track is for a department. So for anyone that is unsure on where to go, I'd say to go pick the track that relates to the department that you're either working in or want to work in. So that includes like a customer success track, an engineering track, a product track. We of course have a founder track, also have a startup curious track for those that are like not quite sure what to do. But I would highly recommend, we want to make this very, very easy to navigate. So at the bottom bare minimum line, if you're like, I want to go, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do, just pick your department and go to those sessions. You are bound to meet awesome people.
Very cool. Very cool. If people want to get involved, learn more, and attend, what's that all look like? Where can they go?
Yeah, so if you just go to startupbos.org, Startup Week, literally right there on the top of the page, you can get your free ticket. Also on that Startup Week page, you can click apply to be a speaker. We are looking to wrap up all speakers by mid-July, so like do it now. Like
Got
literally
it.
right now as you're listening to it.
And
And if you're
what's
yeah,
that speaking process look like?
yeah. So from our side of things, we have about 12 folks that are on the programming team. And the programming team, again, all volunteers donating their time. They are really creating what that content is. So they're creating the panels, the workshops, the presentations, and then they're essentially going through the folks that have applied to speak to see who has the best background to speak at the topics we already have planned. We do it that way because this way we can really kind of control the content and ensure it's
Yeah.
telling a narrative. You're really
Mhm.
going from 101 content to 401 content in one day, which I think is really important because that way you can walk away with your tangible, this is what I'm doing next type of list. But that is essentially how it works is you apply and it goes to the programming team and they'll reach out. And
That's
then
pretty cool.
if you want to like volunteer, you can do that too. Just click the join the team tab on our website. We would love to have you at our events.
Excellent. Give me the URL one more time.
Startupbos.org.
Excellent. 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 So, quick sidebar. So, you grew up in Quincy?
I did. Well,
I didn't-
no, I did not grow up in Quincy. I've
Okay.
lived in Quincy for 10 years. I grew up in
Got
Billerica, Mass. I almost forgot where I grew up.
Okay,
Don't
so
tell
you're
my
not
mom.
yeah,
She's
so you're
gonna
not
kill me.
OG. So you are not OG South Shore.
I
So
am
here
not
I
an
am.
OG, but I have converted. And also, I wouldn't say Billerica is the North Shore, though, either. Billerica is
Well,
like a suburb inland. But I
yeah,
will say, Don, I'm sorry. I really don't like Route 1. Route 1 is
oh
not my
yeah.
jam.
I don't like 93 below Boston, especially between the hours of like noontime and 6 on a Friday trying to get down to the Cape. It's a freaking nightmare.
Just
But
noon at 6? Don't you mean like all day on Friday?
yeah, there's like a window usually on a holiday when there's no traffic. But for those of you listening to this crazy rant, Boston is literally almost smack dab in the middle of the state. And you can go as far north as Maine, which takes you to Canada. And then if you keep going as far south as you possibly can, you basically run into the water. And that line where Boston is, which was typically run, parallel left to right out into the ocean, there's the north of the city and there's the south of the city. And those that are north of Boston say we're from the North Shore, and those are from the south of the city, so they're from South Shore. And the joke is that if I live in Revere, which is literally along the water next to Boston, so I am literally on the shore. To your point, you got people that live in Billerica or Drake or elsewhere that aren't even near the freaking water, but they call themselves North Shore. And the differences are there's some like language differences, accent differences, but there's some food differences, such as the North Shore is known for a roast beef sandwich. So it's basically like it's a beef sandwich that's shaved really thin with like some barbecue sauce, mayonnaise on a bun that's like comes from the gods. Then there's this crap that they serve down in the South Shore called bar pizza, which is like eating cardboard. No offense.
Pizza. Come on.
Yeah, because you're quote unquote from the South Shore, even though you're Bill Ricker type. Anyways, but it's all love between the North Shore and South Shore because look, get me in a bar with some bar pie and pizza, I'll do some damage. And you want to come up to Kelly's, have some roast beef and fries, it's on me. But that's the joke. But anyway, so luckily, Startup Boston's in Boston, so I'm just schlep through Milton and Quincy in the Midwest of the country to get there. I can just go right to town.
Yes. We're meeting halfway in the middle. It'll be
exactly. So if people want to like connect with you, reach out, learn more, where can they do that?
Yeah, so startupbos.org, startupbos.org, like that's definitely a great way to start learning more.
Okay.
Otherwise, folks can just go and connect with me on LinkedIn. I will say it takes me a while to get back to LinkedIn DMs, but I will eventually respond. Just give me some grace.
I mean, there are people sliding up in your LinkedIn DMs. I can't imagine why. I mean, we get all day long.
I don't know either. I'm like,
hey,
that's
Stephanie,
cool. I
I'd
promise.
love to connect.
I'm actually pretty bored. All I do is run and work. Like, that's it.
How often do you run?
A couple times a week. I just finished the Newport 10 miler actually this week.
Good for you. What's the longest distance you've run?
A half marathon. That's it.
Are you gearing up towards the marathon?
I think I might, but at this moment, I just do not have enough room in my schedule to train for a marathon. Startup Boston takes
typical South Shore person.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
Typical South Shore quitter. Okay.
Hey, have you ran a marathon, Don?
No, bad knees. I'm a cyclist.
Those North Shorers and their knees.
We got weak bones up here. Not enough milk. No, I'm a fairly large guy. I'm 6'2", 250, and running is like it's football. If I can run for 3 seconds and smash into somebody, I'm good. But you put me on like 26 miles, give me a defibrillator or a 6-pack. I'm gonna die.
Well, at some point I'm gonna do it. Maybe in 2027. I need to dig myself out of a lot of work before I can go and designate that time.
All right. Well, if you sign up to go run a marathon, then I'll try to run a 3K. That's the deal. All right.
That's good. All right.
Right.
I'm gonna remember this. I'm gonna hit you up in a year, just so you know.
I'll try to get through it. I'll probably walk half of it, but it's okay as long as I get to the end.
You know what? We have it on the record, so I'll remember this.
Exactly. Don't forget. I mean, I can always delete this if I need to. Anyways, Stephanie, it's been a pleasure, 1, to get to know you, 2, to get to this point in our relationship, to hear more about your story. I love the energy. I love I'm just going to go fucking do this and make it my job. And the fact that you're still here after 10 years, as you know, a lot of startups, they start up, but they don't continue to stay up. So congratulations on the 10 years. Looking forward to seeing you in real life as I, get more involved in Startup Boston in a variety of ways. Appreciate you being here. And again, one last time for the URL for those that are listening.
startupbos.org.
All right. At this point, it's going to be embedded in their brain, just how great the North Shore is. Good stuff. Well, appreciate you joining the PR Bunker, and we'll absolutely do this again. And maybe at some point we'll do some segments at Startup Boston, pull some stuff from there. But looking forward to being involved in the community. And congratulations, and keep going.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
That's the PR Bunker podcast, hosted by Don Martelli. Here's the thesis. Reputation is the operating system for your business. It's the one asset that works while you sleep. When you need to defend it, repair it, or build it, start at prbunker.com. And for a sharper way to build the relationships that actually get you to yes, subscribe to the Anti-Networking Playbook on Substack. New every week. When reputation decides the outcome, be ready. We'll see you next time, and remember, stay locked in.